Okay, so hello. We have a very exciting and special Coach Crossings interview today. It is with Leah Butts, and she is our interviewer. So today she gets to be the interviewee, and I feel very honored that I have the opportunity to be your interviewer. So, Leah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Well, first of all, it's an absolute honor for me to be here. It's been such an incredible experience to interview Canada Coach Academy's coaches. I've learned so much in the process of getting to know them. So a little bit about me. Well, it's 2019. I'm 43 years old. I am having an enjoyable and happy life. Um, I laugh when I say that because there's been a couple of times in my life where someone has come up to me and said, "Why are you so happy? Your life is so hard." and, and I just think it's true. I have actually had a lot of huge challenges in my life, and hasn't all been sunshine and rainbows. I've had really endured some dark times um, as a younger teenager and then throughout life. But let's see. So I'm a wife of 4 years, and we have 5 kids. So my kids are older. They're from a previous marriage, but we're a happy family. We really enjoy our time together. Whether it's just sitting on the couch laughing, playing chess, board games, all that fun, and hiking and traveling. But yeah, so professionally, let's see. So I had gone to college for a couple of years, and then got married. And when I remember the first fall that everybody was going back to school, but not me, because I was like 8 months pregnant or something with my first daughter. And I remember thinking, I'm never going to learn anything else. I'm done. This is so sad. Yet, being a mom has been one of the pivotal learning experiences of my life. Like, talk about change management, not just changing diapers, but like changing family dynamics with additional children coming into my life, and just the ages and stages they all go through. I was always managing this crew of, like, even just figuring out where to place them on a grocery cart when I was shopping was a challenge, but it was a fun one. And I had so much fun helping them. My oldest daughter is completely blind. And so that was also an interesting thing, as I've had 4 more children, the times of introducing them to their sister. And when they're little, introducing to the fact that, oh, she actually can't see you, and had some really powerful experiences there, just kind of introducing them to one another's limitations, but that we all had limitations and we all have ways to help. And I honestly think that she wouldn't be the person she is today without their awesome support and their individual ways of explaining the world to her. So that's been a fun part. So after my youngest was born, I went through a divorce and went back to school a few months later. I actually spent a couple of months living in a retirement community and swimming. I was living in Atlanta, Georgia at the time, and we just went to the pool, didn't do a lot, and I had a university professor call me up and say, "Sorry, I heard you went through divorce." And then she said, "But what are you going to do with your life now?" And that was an awesome conversation, because I actually kind of think I may have just lived out my days at a retirement community with a pool, just kind of chilling, try not to add any additional stress to our lives. But I did later that year go back to Idaho and finish my degree in communications. At that time, the university, Brigham Young University in Idaho, was transitioning to an online offering, meaning students didn't have to come to this horrible little town. It's cute in the summer, but in the winter it's horrible, with snow blasting up their noses. But they were able to take online courses. And so I helped build online courses. I did an internship through my business and communications part of my degree, and learned how to build online courses. And really started getting passionate about the university's opportunity to, always wondered who the instructor was that was teaching the course and how they were connected to the mission of the university and how they were going to give that awesome feeling of this fun, close-knit university to the students that were all throughout the world. So that asking a lot of questions like that led me to a position where I actually helped develop an online community, received some additional training in community strategy, and had a small part in building this online community. But really it became a way that we facilitated communication, and it just became something I was really passionate about. So yeah, that's something I love, is community.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it sounds like you've had a really incredible journey to get to where you are today. And I'm very thankful that that path has led you to me and to us, of course. So, do you have a moment or a time that you remember that you knew that you wanted to become a coach?
Yeah. So I remember actually thinking, well, okay, so I got remarried and moved back to Canada. And after about 3 years, I was like, okay, and I'd been working full time as a single mom. So I needed a couple long naps and just to kind of like think about it. And I had started thinking, maybe I'll go back and get my degree. I've always been interested in an MBA, but, yeah. And so, but every time I had tried, I would cause I achieved my bachelor's degree as a single mom of 5. So I thought, surely I can do this with an MBA. But every time I opened my laptop to get into these master's courses, I would fall asleep. I would just fall asleep, and I'd wake up hours later with my laptop burning my thighs. It was horrible. So I wasn't able, I started thinking, well, do I want to try to see if I can stay awake enough through an MBA? And then I thought, well, I don't really want to. And I looked at some jobs, and I had done some consulting and really helped a lot of, as a volunteer, helped a lot of students who were in this pathway program that were looking to get an online degree, but they were working on their English skills or their life management skills. I taught this online course, and my husband and I gathered with these students once a week and just kind of cheered them on through their learning adventure. That was with students here in Calgary, and then online through the Caribbean and the Ukraine. Mm. So I'd had opportunities, and sometimes it was helping with resumes, and just kind of helping those within reach that needed a hand. But then I started thinking, man, I really like talking to people. And someone's like, you should be like one of those energy talking people that heal people. And I'm like, well, what is that exactly? And I started to think, how can I have these conversations with people? And then I heard the word life coach, and I thought, oh, that's really what I've been. So I actually thought, well, I'll just call myself a coach and start having these conversations in a more official way, and just kind of guesstimate what I should charge people. But it didn't really feel real, but that's where I was at.
That's great. Thank you. And why Canada Coach Academy? How did you end up coming to?
This was a good husband saying, hey, is there any sort of training you need to do this? And actually was in a grocery store parking lot when I first talked to you. And it was, I think, 4 days before the Calgary session started. And, and I was like, hi. I think I want to be a coach, and I know I need to get some certification to learn more about this. So it was wonderful. You passed me on to Natalie, and we had a great conversation, and I was able to, a couple of days later, go and attend that certification session. And man, walking into that boardroom, I was like, oh yeah, there's this part of me. There's this part of me that loves those learning opportunities, that loves to be a part of a corporate team, that yeah, this is where I love to be. So that was a really eye-opening moment too, in the certification course.
That's great. That makes me happy. Well, I'm very happy that that's how it worked out in the end. And you had, like, you mentioned you took the program in Calgary, and this was in December of 2018.
Yeah.
So I know you've had a lot of practice, and you've actually recently fulfilled the requirements under CCA, and you're on your way to ICF certification, which is very exciting. So in your experience that you've had since December, what would you say is is different about a coaching conversation?
All right. Well, me thinking the types of conversation I would have previous to that would be listening to ways to relate, or trying to like tell someone things are going to be okay, or here's what you need to do. I realized within the first few minutes actually of the coaching certification that that's not what coaching was at all. So if you have a coach, someone you call a coach, that's like leading you through some sort of program that they're telling you what you need to do to succeed, or you're sitting and listening to them talk for an hour, that's not coaching at its best. Probably closer to mentoring, which also has its place and value, of course. But a coaching conversation is one where you're listened to, where on a very deep level. And what happens, so the time is interesting too, because most of us are used to having a conversation with someone where we say, oh, I have this problem. And they're like, oh, they're either like, you should hurry up and get over that problem. Like, for instance, I work with singles a lot because I've been there, and people in their lives are telling them, hurry up and do whatever it is you need to do to not be single anymore, because we need you to have a +1, or we just know you'll be happier once you're in a relationship. So hurry up and get married, or whatever. And it's like, so people are always trying to like quickly give you their answer, their solution. And coaching is where you are being listened to on a very deep level, and your coach is listening deeply for ways that really trying to unlock what that key is that you're not hearing yourself say. So when I'm listening for deepened awareness, and just asking questions to help. I stay curious. It's a place of trust. It's completely confidential, and it's a place of attention. We often give our problems attention, a little bit of each day, or sometimes we have a thought circling a little bit each hour, and we think, oh, at some point I really need to figure that out. But when you have a coaching conversation, you are giving dedicated time, and it really changes. It changes everything. So, yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's really powerful. Thank you for sharing that. And how would you say that it's changed your life being a coach?
Well, what some people who are considering certification might not realize is that when you are, as you're becoming a coach, we practice coaching together, and we take turns coaching, and there's a huge generosity, a grace we give each other as we're learning. We don't do it perfectly, but we know we're all working towards, our coaching skills. And so I've received, or in the process of the last 6 months, I've received over 50 hours of coaching, coaching me, coaching this. And that's been a huge benefit of deep self-awareness, ownership of my personal mission. And honestly, it's my favorite way to learn about myself. Things I never could come up with on my own. Even now, as I know what types of coaching questions are going to come up, I still value beyond measure my opportunities to sit with someone, a coach, even a new practice coach, just because it somehow pulls me out of my own quick solutions and helps me uncover what's really going on and what I'm really not seeing.
Well, that's really profound. Ownership of my personal mission. That's incredible. That's really
it's changed my family too. I started coaching my husband just for practice, like, hey, honey, let me be your coach. And as before, when I would coach him, or when I would just talk to him about things he would, issues at work or things he was struggling with, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I don't like that person, or I don't, I would just kind of like whine. I wasn't really listening for what, or it was a different type of caring. I thought I was being supportive by relating or sharing the load of the annoyance that he was going through.
Yeah.
When I started just holding space and saying, okay, what is the impact of that? And just other coaching questions, as I was curious and non-judgmental about what he was going through, he eventually said, yeah, I think I need to start my own business.
Very cool.
So we both now work from home, which is kind of fun.
Very
Really
cool.
fun. So yeah, and even with my kids, it's been powerful because, you always have mom telling you what to do or say, or, tell your kids this or that. And if I could go back in time, I would never ask another why question of my kids. I would just always ask them, like, what are you going to do? And what's the impact of that? And, some things there that I think are really powerful about my relationship with them. So it's improved my personal relationships, and I've really enjoyed the people I've met professionally.
Wow. Well, I think anyone you come in touch with is very lucky to have you in their lives. So I'm sure I'm really, happy for that family environment to have you in this coach approach, I guess we could say. Yeah. And I guess that leads me to my next question. What is your mission or your vision as a coach, if you had to narrow in on one?
Well, Roberta, I love poetry, and I love Irish blessings. I could read that. Fall asleep reading that a lot. And so my mission statement, my personal mission that I read before a session just silently to myself, is a reminder of what my true passion is in this. And it's, let this space of trust and love invite the truth of struggle and deepened awareness that the path of possibility may be revealed. So what happens there is, I am acknowledging that the coaching and reminding myself that this is a place of trust and love. And really, we're there to invite the truth,
Wow.
Really figure what that is. And once you know the truth of why you're struggling, and then you start to see a deepened awareness, there's still a next step. And that's figuring out what the possibilities are. Figuring out, okay, well, what then is next? What's the next step? What goal do you need to achieve? Who do you need to help you? That's another important part of the process that I love making sure is part of the coaching conversation.
Oh, what a beautiful mission statement. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. And I think from that, what would be the footprint that you'd want to leave behind, or you'd want to leave in the world?
Oh, I think it goes back to just having been an example of how perspective can, and doing your best is the true way to live. Like, that your perspective can have an impact. And so, like, I obviously think of my kids and family and think, oh man, what will they remember? And what will the world remember? Like, a smile, great. If my smile can be something good for you in your day, good. But if I had been there to truly listen and help you somehow realize that there's a little more that you haven't considered, a different path or a different way, just that optimism, and that happiness isn't a fleeting moment, that it can be a way to live your life. It can be perspective to make progress through tough times and to really enjoy the good times. Yeah.
That's great perspective. No, really, that's really great. It's I know that can, be challenging at times, and to have that as the footprint you want to leave, I think that's absolutely incredible. And so if you had a chance to, write one message on a billboard for the world to see, what message would you want to get out there?
So I figured this one out a few years ago. I've been walking around a campus and I was thinking, okay, what would I say if I could really say something to each person? And I thought about that a lot. And so my billboard would say, "You are an awesome child of God."
Oh.
I believe that everyone has infinite value to the God that created us. So that's that's something I've felt in my life where I'm like, okay, I want to do big, good things. And I'm like, okay, well, I just start going. And then out of nowhere, there's this higher power that I can lean on. There's a feeling of peace. There's a feeling of like, oh, purpose, and that there's someone there championing me, even when I'm completely alone and it's completely dark and it seems like there's no way out of it. So that's my billboard. You are an awesome child of God.
That's great. That's great. I really love that. Thank you so much. Just a huge thank you from Canada Coach Academy. It's such a pleasure to work with you, to, do this interview with you. I feel very lucky I had this opportunity. Very excited for your coaches and what you are contributing to the world. We're very lucky to have you. And yeah, I'm just really excited for the journey that you have ahead. And I hope you know how special you are to us.
Wow, thank you. It's wonderful to be a part of the Canada Coach Academy community.
Thank you.
All right.